So the relationship is one of the harmony and balance with each other, isn't it? Isn't it? They coexist and co-evolve. All right. Later we can talk about the whole process of biological evolution from this view. But let's hear more from the text, what the text has to say.
In the process of the emergence of human life, energies, vibrations manifested in the elemental form, organic, chemical compounds absorbed and arranged in the form of vegetables, are taken in the last process of physicalization in the course of millions of billions of years, which began from one thing. That is the process of feeding, digestion, and absorption through our digestive vessels. The stream of blood changes into the form of body cells and the reproductive cells, including ovum and sperm. The formation of the ovum is a result of inward spiral motion of follicles in the ovaries, young, while the formation of sperm is the result of differentiation of reproductive cells, both of which therefore attract and fuse with each other to create the beginning of new life. During the embryonic period of approximately 280 days, four major stages of logarithmically taking place in the mother's uterus. The first process is fertilization and implantation, over a period of about 7 days. Second, the formation of the major systems takes place over a period of about 21 days. Third, the major organs and glands become formed among the systems, taking about 63 days. The fourth period of approximately 189 days sees the formation of appendages and continuous development up to the time of birth.
All right, now, you see the pattern here? What's the pattern in numbers, the numbers pattern?
Yeah. 7.
Yeah, period. Period.
3 times each time.
Okay, so it's like a spiral. So the first stage is what?
7 days.
Before that is the fertilization, right? That's the beginning. Isn't it? Okay, so that's period, right? Then first stage is how many days?
7 days.
7. Then the next stage is what? 21 days. So how many times 7? 3, right? Next stage is how many?
63. 9 times 7.
7, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do it, right? 7. Is that right?
So 190?
7. Yeah, 7, 21, 63, right? And then next is what?
189.
So we can't even draw that, right? That's off. That's called logarithmic. It's actually spiral, right? So this orbit is here, right? This one comes down like this, right? So way out there, right? And then right? Yeah. Same spiral pattern that we see in the solar system.
During this embryonic period, our growth and development is made by autonomic mechanical operations which we may call the primary and basic judgment of our life. Upon birth and to the end of our human life, this primary judgment continues to function through all parts of our body, such as unconscious nerve reactions, digestive and respiratory functions, and circulatory and excretory activities in various ways. However, soon after our birth, we begin to develop sensory consciousness or judgment to deal with various kinds of environments. Sense of touch for the solid environment, sense of taste for the liquid environment, sense of smell for the gaseous environment, sense of hearing for the vibrational environment, and sense of sight for the world of light. The sensory experience further involves various physical desires such as hunger and appetite, pain and comfort, heat and cold, and many others.
Right. So our first level of development as an independent being, right? Is what we call what level? Mechanical, right?
Yes.
Or reflexive or autonomic, right? So give a couple examples again. Present day
digestion,
function.
your heartbeats, nerve reactions.
The functioning of all our internal organs.
Yeah,
Functions.
everything goes.
Like pancreas secreting insulin, anti-insulin, blood sugar regulation, blood breaking down, red blood cells. All of that's going on without you thinking about it. Isn't it? Right? And you're not thinking, now time to make insulin. It's happening, right?
Time to digest, time to
Right.
my heartbeat.
You don't have to worry about any of it. That's the platform. This is like a mechanical platform, which is established for what? What is that platform established to allow us to do, to facilitate what?
Brain, nerves, think.
To facilitate consciousness. So you don't have to deal with all that. But it's very important to maintain all that in proper order. As the platform. Without that platform, everything else would collapse. Then what's second? What comes wider after the senses start to control my life? Based on the platform. Senses, right? For example, in present day.
You burn yourself on candle.
Right. Hot and
See the
cold.
light shining in. You get hungry.
Yeah. So do they start, do the senses open up from yin to yang or yang to yin? Beginning of sense. How so?
Everything starts with the internal organs. Everything starts and then comes your nervous system. And through that, everything comes out. As you. Everything is an outward direction. You tend to go, you send everything on the outside.
Well, let's think over which.
It depends on the perspective that you take in relation to the senses. If you're looking at the senses in terms of the experience of the being, so in the context of the being, we have senses. When I'm really, really small, I just came out of the womb, I haven't had many physical experiences. So each one is profoundly huge.
Sure.
And it really is impacting, and everything goes on that. But every time I have, say, the 50th time I see a sunrise, the sky really, the experience of it.
Well, what you develop is memory, too. Memory and the ability to project outcome. So you know at the peak of night, based on memory, then what's going to come next. Within the absolute probability, not a million percent because the comet is right and destroyed.
Right.
But you know generally, right? Within you start to become cognizant of cause and effect and shape, right? Sequence in order.
But it dilutes the effects of the sensory experience.
Yeah, because you go further. You start going further. Based on that platform, that becomes a platform for the next level, right?
And then you expand your judgment of it, your sensory, you expand that outwards from your thought.
Yeah.
You can put,
There's a step,
you can
in
layer
between
them.
step. There's in between step. Right. Let's look at the senses first. Touch. What is the sense? Touch is the first one to open, to become operative. So that's based on immediate contact. In other words, if something doesn't come in contact with your nerves receptors, right? You don't perceive touch. So that contact means very young, right? Connection, contact, right? Okay. So the first sense to open up is the young touch, right? Okay, now what's next? Touch is like solid, liquid, right? Is it? Contact.
Like in the room.
Before that.
You're saying like in the room that we develop the sense of touch?
Yeah, it's the rudiments of it. It becomes taste. Taste means what? Taste also means contact, right?
Contact, yeah.
But what's the medium of contact for taste? Liquid. Like saliva, right? Water, isn't it? Things are dissolved, that's how you taste. Don't you remember that?
Now, would that count?
So, for example, when you chew brown rice,
But not.
the more you chew, no, not in the womb. Because in the womb, you're not taking anything to the mouth.
Right. Would that still count as taste?
No, you don't taste that. It's mechanically coming in.
So we don't have any other senses that we develop in the room before taste?
No, all of the organs for those senses are developed in the womb. They start to become operative when you come out.
Physically, but you still have a sense of conscience. The dorsal nerve cord is developed.
Sure.
But you have actual feeling sense touch. experience in the room.
Some
Whereas
extent.
taste, you wouldn't have even an approximation of that.
That's right. Same thing, smell. The next is smell.
Right.
So what does smell involve? More again, right? Smell is what?
Gases. And you're picking up
That means
something.
particles through the air. It's much more wide, right?
Hmm.
So, like if you burn a candle, that could be across the room, and the particles come all the way across. Whereas taste, it has to actually go in your mouth, right? Touch, it has to contact your skin.
Oh, I see. This is in relation to the physical development. And
Yeah.
that means that's where we're
So we're
gauging
developing
the
from yang to yin, right? That's our development progressively on this yin process. The next is, after smell is what? No, smell, taste, smell. Next is hearing, right? This is much wider, right?
More
vibrations.
than ultimately.
This is air, ultimately air, right? Like waves in air. So if you strike a guitar string that's in the air, is the medium it's coming from. Right?
Or water.
Yeah, or
It
water.
would be any
Infinite space though, no sound.
anything that carries vibration.
Yeah.
Very small as you too.
Okay. The next is which?
Sight.
Sight. How about space-wise here? Compared to touch.
You can see light of the stars. Of the
You
sun.
can see a billion light years away. Isn't it? Even when you're
Okay.
seeing the past. But
Expansion.
anyway, wide. So
You can
amazingly
see
wide.
much farther than you can hear.
Or you can
Or
touch.
we can touch. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that means those senses open in that order. Something like a bud. You know, like a bud opening and a flower coming out, right? Most young, then most yin. That's bud. And that sensory platform leads to what kind of thing? What do we start to develop from? Based on what? Based on preference.
Now would it be discernment first?
Discernment. Discernment and preference, right? So you prefer certain tastes to other tastes. You recognize a certain taste more than others. So what is, by the way, what happens to be the most recognized taste of all the tastes? Sweet. Because that is what? What is our first fruit?
Breast milk.
Sweet, right? And that sweet then carries on from graduating from that to plant food. So our first plant food after the breast milk should be what? What? Like bees?
Why not?
No.
If you get a taste of it, if there's pollen in the air or outside, that's a sweet taste.
Yeah.
Should be fruit.
Grain.
Grain?
Like brown rice.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
No, I don't know. I think that you make a good point with the fruit. There's one thing with fruit that
Readily there is, you know.
well, that and also comically in relation to the systems, how they develop. When you take a piece of fruit off of a tree, it doesn't hurt the tree. But if you take a vegetable, you kill it to be able to climb. An animal, you kill it to be able to. But one of the very few things that you can eat from and not affect that system in a negative way is fruit.
So it's very peaceful, right?
Yeah,
So we would live a very peaceful life if we did that. Maybe. Why don't you experiment?
Eat it. I have been. I'm working on it. That's why I don't need to finish.
My opinion is that grain, the sweetness of grain, is the closest to the mother's milk. You know, like mother's milk is like, I don't know if you've tasted amasake. Fermented rice is sweet milk, right? And breast milk is like a sweet version. And most of our receptors are set up to recognize that.
It does taste a lot like breast milk. Rice milk does.
You seem to remember so good.
Oh, no, I got some in my taste.
Okay.
I said, oh, I have some. Let me try it.
He's a very good researcher. So, okay, and so that means grain and vegetables should be our food. And that's set up by our taste, our revealing of taste. And smell is very connected to that. Okay, so we develop preferences. We prefer certain things, we don't like other things. We get attached to certain things. And we dislike other things. Now that level is the next level, so let's see what it says about that. After sensory.
In the third stage, on the basis of sensory experiences, we continue to develop our emotional